Hi there, I'm Neil Winton and welcome to Winton's World. And what we have for you this month, the new Tesla Model 3, the first right-hand drive versions are now coming into the country. Today we're in just behind Winton village in Sussex. This is Nepcote Green over here behind the car, and right behind me are the South Downs. The Tesla Model 3 is supposedly the company's first attempt at a mass market car. Unfortunately, it hasn't quite worked out that way, because this one costs pretty much close to £50,000, and the cheapest entry-level one is at about £37,000, so it's still very expensive and hardly mass market. It's been on sale in Europe since February, and the car has performed amazingly well. After only 5 months of sales, it was the #1 electric car in Europe, while all the other cars had 6 months to sale, and they were way behind it. The Renault Zoe, for instance, which costs probably a third of this, was second, but this much more expensive car was at the top, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. Yeah, as soon as you sit in the car, it does have that driver's car feel to it. It's got quite a small steering wheel and quite a thick one as well, so it really feels as though you're in control, and the steering is very, very sharp and direct. This being the top of the range model, it's got performance figures that are hardly believable. It's 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds, 162 miles an hour maximum, and the battery has a life of about 330 miles, Tesla claims, and also it has four-wheel drive, so this is really a magnificent piece of kit. It's going to be, it's been such a big success already in Germany, and I think it's also, it's not only a success against other electric cars, it's succeeding against the hottest, fastest BMW 3 Series cars, and all the Audis and the Mercedes and the Porsches as well. So it's scoring against regular cars as well as electric ones, which is pretty amazing. I think you look at the price of this car and you look at the performance of it, and you compare that with the German competition, I think you'll find that this is almost cheap, if you can say that about such an expensive car, but it's probably a whole lot less expensive than the competition, with probably superior performance. Obviously we're not going to find out whether it really does 160 odd miles an hour, but of course in Germany you could. But of course all the other German manufacturers just say, oh yes, 155 miles an hour limited, but they've obviously said 164 or whatever it is to score a few points against the Germans. As you can see, it's got the 15-inch screen here with everything, all the information you require is there, and the rest of the face here is completely uncluttered, and I think it looks rather fancy, doesn't it? The pickup is truly incredible, because if I dare put my foot down here, it just leaps forward, and it just pushes everyone's back in their seat. And of course, given that it's just one gear, because it's a automatic electric car, there's no gaps for the gear changes as you go on to 160 miles an hour if you so desire, if you're in Germany. Or it's just amazing, just quiet and right on the money the entire time. It's just a great experience. So it just makes you wonder, this car's got a range of over 300 miles. It does start to become quite a practical proposition as an all-round car. And you probably know that Tesla has this Europe-wide network of supercharging stations, where if you do plot your trip across Europe, you'll be able to go from one supercharger to the next, where it would take you perhaps 45 minutes to fill up for 300 miles, maybe less. And the map that you get with the sat-nav here will show you how many stations there are at the next fill-up place, and it will tell you how many berths are free as well. So you can, if you find one that's full, you can zoom on to the next one, and so avoid wasting time. But the point that it's really hard to bet against where electric cars are concerned is that it really you can't see it being a great success in the mass market until they're as easy to refuel as regular diesel or gasoline powered cars, and that does seem to be a long way off. Yeah, some of the electric cars, when you pick the car up and it says 200 miles in the tank, and you do 50 miles and you find out that in fact there's only 125 left. So they quite often exaggerate what you might be able to get in terms of range. But in my small experience of this one, it did about 75 miles yesterday, and that was exactly pretty much exactly the amount that was knocked off the range claim. The Model 3 really has made a huge impact, but it's really at the moment there's not much competition on the electric side of the market, but there soon will be. Next month at the Frankfurt Car Show, we will see a whole range of new electric cars, mainly from the Germans and probably from just about everybody else, where next year the competition for Tesla for all its range of cars will be much greater than it is now. So they need to make hay while the sun shines. Right, if you're going to have an electric car, you really have to have your own charger at home, otherwise your life will be miserable as you go from filling station to filling station, so-called. I'm told, Tesla says that they have this huge network of superchargers across the country and across Europe, across America as well. But I've never actually attempted a long journey yet and had to rely on planning a series of fuel stops, and I wouldn't recommend it, but at least you would think that with Tesla you have more of a chance than with most. Like the Model S, we have a front trunk, the Funk, which is a fair amount of space in there for stuff, and also probably a lot of burglars wouldn't even think to look under the front for your luggage. That's probably a rather safe place to be. Naturally, the focus of the cockpit is the 15-inch screen, which has been a Tesla attribute since day one, I believe. And you can see, because everything is on that screen there, nothing else at all is cluttering up the fascia, which looks rather nice. There's so many things on here that you can do that I haven't had the chance to do in the couple of days I've been driving the car. There's autopilot over there, which I think maybe I'll leave that for another time, because apparently you can actually engage it on motorways only, which apparently will let you drive hands-free down motorways, set your speed, and off you go. Tesla insists it must be motorways, and I haven't had the gall to try that one out. Here we have, you can just select the type of acceleration from chill to sport. There's 3 steering modes: comfort, standard and sport, and you can set the regenerative braking to whatever you want. This is a thing that Tesla has pioneered. You can download changes to the control system, the software, remotely, and so when they want to update stuff, they let you know, and they can modernize some of the controls without you going in to see the dealer, which is very clever, I think. But with the Model 3, Tesla now has a clear lead, it seems to me, in the new electric car business, and this is going to add a huge amount of sales to their portfolio every year. We just have to see now how the Germans, I guess, and the likes of Jaguar Land Rover react, and try and pit themselves against this. But when you look at the quality, the value for money, and the performance of this Model 3, then it's going to take some beating.